Before we begin, just to note that this video is going to be absolutely disgusting. If you're wondering what could possibly be more disgusting than the exploitative machinations of Victorian rail barons, well, today we're at a sewage works. See, following my video on London's super sewer, DEFRA, the Department for the Environment, Food and Rural Affairs, contacted me about another opportunity relating to sewers. A sort of public information film, if you like. At the risk of becoming known as a sewer guy, I agreed to it. Today I'm at Minworth Sewage Works outside Birmingham to see exactly how disgusting things can get around here. Minworth is operated by Severn Trent Water, who supply more than 4.5 million homes across the Midlands. This is one of the largest sewage treatment plants in Europe, and we were only able to see a small section of it. So how does a sewage works work? Well, it's a complicated process. Here are some toilets, but this is only the start of the process. What you see here is the inlet, and that stuff flowing through it is raw sewage. It's all glamour, this influencer lark, I can tell you. The works gets on average 6,600 litres of sewage per day, which is approximately 1,452 gallons or 2 series of reality TV. During a heavy storm, this amount can double. Weirdly enough, the works doesn't smell as bad as you'd expect. I don't know how to describe it without being utterly gross. My fellow visiting creators and workers at the site variously described it as smelling like a farm, roasting meat, or ready salted crisps, which put me off my lunch, I can tell you. After letting the sewage in, the next stage is screening, which is really what we were brought here to discuss. The biggest problem faced by sewage workers is stuff being put down the toilet that shouldn't be, and that's what these screens are here to filter out. It's kind of inevitable that things will end up in the sewers other than the kind of matter you normally put into a sewer. Things get washed down drains, people drop things, all that. But the biggest problem is the little things. Baby wipes and sanitary products. Baby wipes are the worst culprit. Unlike toilet paper, they contain plastics that can take up to 600 years to break down. Sewers aren't built to handle these. They can get stuck in the sewers and blockages build up around them. Sometimes they form a vile alliance with fats, oils and greases that also get dumped down there, and you get what are known as fatbergs, giant accumulations of fat and other bits of stuff. In 2021, one was discovered beneath Small Heath in Birmingham that weighed an incredible 300 tons. Imagine the smell. A ban has been put in place on wet wipes that contain plastic, which will be coming into effect in England in spring 2027, with the rest of the UK bringing it in earlier in 2026. This was proposed by the previous government, and the current one has put it into effect. Basically, it's a remarkably popular proposal because we'd all like a lower water bill, and no one wants to think about sewage too much. Still, Severn Trent would like to emphasise that even with the ban, they'd rather you only use the toilet for its intended purpose. If it isn't supposed to go down the toilet, put it in the bin. Just about anything can end up down there. At the works, they have what they call the Toy Museum. I really hope these are things dropped by accident. I can't imagine how painful it would be to pass any of this stuff. I'm assured it's all been cleaned. Other things have been dredged out over the years. Clothes, false teeth, the occasional dead rat, cutlery, even things like fence panels. And God only knows how you get a fence panel into a sewer. One of the guys showing us around told me that they'd found a dead horse down there once. How do you even dispose of something like that? You can't sell it, everyone says you shouldn't flog a dead horse. Following screening, the water goes to primary settlement tanks, where the solids, don't think too hard about that, sink to the bottom. Then it's sent to the aeration tanks, where bacteria break down the remaining organic waste and ammonia. Then that water is sent to the final settlement tanks, where the bacteria sink to the bottom. The end result is clean water. This is sent into the River Tame. It's the proud boast of the chaps at Minworth that the water is cleaner than what's already in the river. The solids from the primary settle tanks have their uses. They're treated in digesters. Here they're heated, and during the process they give off methane, which can be captured and used to generate heat and electricity. At Minworth, enough gas is produced to heat around 3,000 homes, the equivalent of 10 party political broadcasts. As for all that nasty stuff fished out of the sewers, it goes to landfill. There's not much else you can do with it. Things have come a long way from the Victorian era, when sewage was just pumped straight into the river. We don't really think much about the process unless it goes wrong. Or, to put it another way, we don't care where it goes as long as it goes. But without facilities like Minworth, society would get very unpleasant very quickly. Still, I hope this has given you some idea of how it all works. I must admit that I'm no expert in the subject. I was just going with the flow. Well, I do hope you enjoyed today's episode. Something a little different. Every day is a school day, as they say. I'd like to thank the guys from DEFRA and Severn Trent for bringing me up here and showing me around. It was an interesting and memorable day, even if I did feel a powerful need to take a shower the moment I got home. I would like as ever to thank my donors on Ko-fi, on Patreon, and here on YouTube for your generous support. I can't really do that "you are the blank to my blank" thing here without being horribly offensive, but thank you anyway. And I will see you all again very soon. Cheerio.